friends, I'm Paul, and after many requests, yeah, here it is, the Riff King, my Alembic, John Paul Jones style 8-string bass. Well, that's it. You probably want to know more. Okay, it's an Alembic. John Paul Jones's 8-string that he used between 1976 and the last Led Zeppelin European tour in 1980 was technically not an Alembic exactly. Bruce Beckvar, who worked at Alembic for a time, I think took a few plans, a few bits and pieces when he worked there, and was working on his own basses on the side, which is why it's technically called a Beckvar. And it has some slight differences from what I had built, but I had this built by Alembic to honor that. So it's an 8-string, it is stereo, so yes, the bass pickup and the treble pickup can be routed, their signals, to completely different paths and amps, which I do. It has what's called a hum canceller pickup in the center here. And what this hum canceller does is exactly what it says, it cancels the hum, because these are powerful, wonderful single coils, and they tend to make hum. And so this literally removes the hum, which means this thing is whisper quiet in the studio and on stage, which is worth a lot. Brass and gold-plated hardware for bridge and tailpiece, and this is where you get to your dual truss rods in there. And what else? Oh yeah, 8-string. So that means you've got an E, A, D, G like normal, but you have the octave E, A, D, and G's. So you get a much fuller sound, which is why I really recommend with a pick, because you can finger pick if you want to, but there's something about the definition you get. But I like a little better, and I use what John Paul Jones used and Chris Squire, the Herco Gray. Okay, brass nut, of course, which is adjustable, and oh my gosh, the laminates. The wood is what's called zebra or zebra wood, and the grain is very highly defined, and you can see the way I have this made, they converge ever so slightly as they go up the neck. But it's really cool because it's almost solid zebra wood. It has laminates of ebony in it. If you look at the zebra wood when it's sawed on its side, you see it looks like a topographic map. You know, isn't that really cool? I think it's beautiful. And the back side, yes, ebony. I have ebony strips running all through this thing. Ebony, 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 ebony neck, ebony strips. And what that does is it just gives you a deeper sustain. I mean, that wood is just so solid. It just goes right into the bridge. And this thing is, I don't know, maybe wood doesn't make any difference, but it sounds different than any other bass I've ever heard, probably because of the pickups, right? Thank you, Scott Grove. Anyway, the inlays I designed myself, and hopefully you can see these. Here is the Ohm symbol. Here is the Eye of Horus triangle. Here is a symbol for Aquarius, because that's my astrology. You've got the symbol for Chi, because I practice Tai Chi Chuan. And here at the octave you've got, well, what else? John Paul Jones's rune. Here is a symbol for Mercury, which is also a hermaphroditic alchemical symbol, and a coiled serpent. So, Alembic did a beautiful job building this many years ago. Now, you notice these lights. Well, those are laser fret marker lights, but I have them really set into the designs, not particularly for fret positions, but the center of all the different graphics. And yes, I can make them brighter. And crowds love that. I mean, it's a great stage guitar. But also what's cool is you have on the side, on the edge here, glowing marks. So if you're playing a completely dark stage, you can see where you are, which is nice. So I can turn them up or I can turn them down very far. Now, look at this. See, it doesn't. There's no neck dive on this thing. That's because the people at Alembic know what they're doing. Even though you have all this hardware up here, these shallower, gold tuners, and this long, long neck. It's got ebony in it and everything. It's really well balanced because A, there's a lot of stuff going on at this end. And this is quite heavy, and also it's perfectly placed where the strap goes. And yes, these are shallower strap locks because this is a neck-through instrument. I wouldn't want it any other way, but if anything dropped into it, you'd lose the whole bass, and we don't want that. All right, standard pickup selector, so you can do bass pickup, treble pickup, combination, and there's an off. See? Off. Off. Very nice. End of song. Turn it off. This is master volume. And these are volumes for the pickups. And down here, they're not really tone knobs. This is an Alembic, ladies and gentlemen. That means these are frequency selectors, rotary, that are dependent on the Q switches. And the Q switches sort of predetermine the frequency sweep you have. Like this one I have set this way to push and accentuate the bass frequencies, and then the tone is working within that frequency. This one is set for the high frequencies, and the tone works from that frequency, right? And we already know that adjusts the LEDs, the lasers. This cord connector is a 5-pin. What that means, it goes through this mess of stuff of mine to this Alembic preamp, which is the DS5R. The 5-pin goes in, and you have separate bass and treble outs that can go to 2 separate amps, which mine does. Yeah, there's also a 1/4 inch you can plug into here if you want, and there's a 9-volt battery in the back. And see, this is beautiful. These are control panels here, but they're made out of, they call these continuous wood plates, I believe. They're set in the back here. And this one has a little trim pot, so you can make further adjustments to the frequency of the tone knobs, if you know what I mean. But it's just so beautiful. You just really enjoy the wood. I think it's beautiful. You want to hear it? Okay. Now, I have my treble pickup goes through my effects, like flange and tremolo and chorus. There's a wah. There's a little overdrive, another overdrive, which is set too low. Oh, and there's one of these. But let's bring in the bass. Let's hear just the bass. It vibrates this whole house. So we blend them together and get this wonderful. This thing will sustain until there's no more YouTube, believe me. And that's really just not feedback, that's actual sustain. It's just nuts. And wonderful. And yeah, she would play things like, So, it is the Riff King, because really you play any riff with this and it's absolutely wonderful. And again, I recommend with the pick, you can kind of, Chris Squire actually used an 8-string for a while for a roundabout as the encore, because the original was recorded with not simply one bass, so in case that's which is kind of nice. But for me, the fact that the intonation is perfect and you can play yes, 2 octaves. No one plays is these notes. Here it is. If you want sometime, I'll take you through my whole system. But the main thing is this amazing, amazing. Between the strings is just fantastic. You got to play really, really tight so it doesn't mess with your drum sound in the band. But that chugga 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 chugga, it's just. Pickup's got its volume, or you just, or the bass amp that the bass pickup's going through right now is turned, I mean, on a hair, just a hair. I bump it up at all. Listen to this thing does. Shot on an iPhone. I can't imagine this is picking this up. And what's so cool is what it sounds like here is that bass is just so warm and tight and clean and warm, or muddy, whatever you want to call it. And the effects in the treble are very crisp on top. But I've also got a Tech 21 NYC thing box, which I have a slightly grittier sound in the beginning of the chain, so even my treble sounds going through all these effects are slightly dirty. So it's amazing. Oh yeah, when you hear the tonal frequency here. That's an active bass for you, though.